Welcome to Freaky Fauna Friday, where every Friday we take a little time and explore some of the freaks of nature from around the planet we cherish so deeply. So please, jump aboard and let's explore the wilds together. Hello, and welcome back to Freaky Fauna Friday. I am the great and powerful Mr. E.
And I am Jay.
And together we're going to take you on another blast from the past.
That intro just always is just, it's
relaxing.
It's like a
Spa day.
a breath of fresh air, just a cool drink on a warm day.
And at the end, you get an angry Swede.
That's right.
Swedish chef.
A lovely Swede.
Mm-hmm. Today's Freaky Fauna is the Jefferson's Giant Ground Sloth.
Ooh.
There are many, many species of giant ground sloth. This is not the biggest one,
Okay.
but this is a really famous one.
It's just a giant ground sloth.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Jefferson's Giant Ground Sloth is also known as Megalonyx jeffersoni. It's a member of the Megalonychidae giant ground sloth family group. It is one of two types of giant ground sloths that have been recovered in Ice Age sites in the Midwest.
Ooh. So it's close to home?
Yeah, these are our giant ground sloths.
What, in Ohio?
Yeah,
Oh, nice. Okay.
Ohio, Indiana, Pennsylvania. You know, it's a little bit into Appalachia, but mostly the Midwest.
Are they extirpated?
Extinct.
Oh, okay. They're fully extinct.
Yes.
Dang it.
Yes. Extirpated means they would be alive somewhere else.
So they're not.
Yes. Giant ground sloths are large relatives to our modern day two-toed sloths. So kind of a funny thing with two-toed and three-toed sloths alive today, they are not closely related.
They're completely
They're they're each on the very tips of different branches of sloth.
Okay, so they're still sloths.
Yes, but convergent evolution made them look very similar.
Okay.
So, but they're each like the tree-dwelling slow member
Yeah,
of
so
each
slow.
major lineage.
So why are they so slow?
It's a defense mechanism.
To be slow?
Yeah, but think about most prey or predator animals. They're
Yeah.
looking for reactionary stuff.
Right, yeah.
So they're wanting to chase. And if you're going that slow on your high speed,
Yeah, you ain't even, yeah.
and then they stink, they grow moss, they taste really bad. So it's just a whole like gimmick.
I guess so.
But they are members of sloths and armadillos. The Extherethia is the whole order.
Okay.
Family like Megalodiachidae, which is just the giant ground sloths. These guys are about 10 foot tall at the shoulder. So not the biggest giant ground sloth, but
Still pretty big.
hefty.
Yeah.
Most African elephants, not the biggest African elephants, like they get up to like 13 foot tall at the shoulder. And
Yeah,
so
but the average, I'm
it's
sure.
about 10 foot tall. These guys weighed up to about 2,500 pounds,
Okay.
and they are extinct.
So this is a megafauna.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Extinct megafauna.
So yeah, their description is they are a very large, heavily built animal. They have a large skull with a massive blunt snout, massive jaws, well-developed chewing muscles, large, blunt, peg-like teeth. As with other sloths, their teeth on the outer layer of dentin rather than enamel, and thus they were softer than other mammals.
So is that pointing at that they were herbivore or omnivores?
So soft teeth wear faster than hard teeth.
Okay.
And to compensate for that, their teeth continuously grow through their whole life. So think about it more like,
Beavers?
yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, okay.
That they're always like growing out teeth. So it means that they could still chew some very tough stuff,
Yeah.
but you know, they're going to wear down their teeth.
Gotcha. But they need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the shape of their hip bones also indicate they could walk on all four legs. That's probably mostly how they moved, but they could also stand up.
On their back,
that's probably
too.
most of the defensive posture, and they use their tail like a kangaroo. These guys had massive, thick tails.
Oh, they do have tails.
Yeah,
okay.
very, very large tails.
Because sloths now don't have tails, right?
They do. They're just tiny.
Tiny? Okay,
Yeah.
so they're short.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, like it's weird. Like this three-toed and two-toed sloths look very similar, and they are not very closely related.
So, and how many toes does this one have?
So this is more. This has, I believe, a full hand of 4 claws and a thumb.
Oh, so it's even something completely different than those two.
I believe it's a member of the two-toed family group, though, of what we consider modern day.
Okay, gotcha. Now,
And they
okay.
have more than that. They just have 3 or 2 big claws.
That are distinct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So habitat. These guys dwelled primarily in woodlands and forest, although they likely did occupy a broad environmental systems. These guys were pretty well built. So anywhere they really wanted to end up, they probably could.
Could be there, yeah.
Two recent studies that were able to link their directly dated specimens to the thermal Pliocene with regional paleoenvironmental records.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Everybody at home, it's been a long night for Justin, and he is tired. So,
A long week.
well, yeah. Demonstrate these particular animals were associated with spruce dominant mixed conifer hardwood habitats. So that means they just kind of preferred conifers.
Okay.
And yeah. However, they were likely one of several types of woodland habitats utilized by the Jefferson Giant Ground Sloth over the course of the Pliocene. There's just like these guys pop up. Literally, I believe it was 2 years ago. Indiana farmer found a skull in his field of one of these guys.
Now, wasn't some like gorilla skull he planted there, was it?
No, there's humongous skulls.
Okay.
But no, he found it and he didn't know what it was, and it was a giant ground sloth skull.
That's pretty. Now, it was fossilized or was this
No,
was
it
actual
bone.
skull?
Bone.
No way. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
I want it. I want this is one of my like
I want
a
it.
decent one of these guys' skulls because there's a lot of them. There's a you can actually buy these on like the bone market and stuff like that.
Start digging up in people's yards.
Well, it's
We'll find one eventually.
eventually, but they're like $5,000, $6,000
Phew.
for a decent one.
Well, I mean, it's not terrible, but it is a steep price point, but worthy cause.
So these guys, the shape of their teeth suggests that they were primarily browsers, who primarily ate leaves, twigs, and possibly nuts. And furthermore, the recent analysis of their bone chemistry of an individual recovered in Virginia strongly indicates these animals had a mostly herbivorous diet, which is keeping with the previous study conducted for individual records from Alberta, Canada. So these aren't the ones that we think of that are eating like meat and stuff like that.
Right.
There were ground sloths. So ground sloths took a gigantic variety of shapes and forms and such. There were giant marine ground sloths.
Oh my gosh.
I know that ground sloth marine, they weren't called giant marine ground sloths. They were from a lineage of ground sloth that went fully marine.
Marine, yeah.
And they were quite large. Their megalodons would eat them.
Wow.
But they kind of occupied a niche in South America, similar to like what manatees do in North America. Mostly shallow water, swampy, coastline vegetarians.
Now that just seems like if you've seen one of them swimming, that's a Bigfoot.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of people that suggest Bigfoot could be a giant ground sloth.
Wait, did you say they took the manatee niche? Or is that what you said?
A group of them tried to.
Ah.
They did not do good.
Oh, okay.
There were plenty of predators like melismosaurs and megalodons, and then
Alligators, crocodiles.
yeah, I mean and then the niche were occupied already by like stellar sea cows and stuff they had a lot of competition. They just were trying it out.
Gotcha. Okay.
They didn't make the cut.
I was just trying to make the connection from Bigfoot to manatees to giant ground sloths. There might be something there.
That's a different show. Write that down. Write that down.
Oh, okay. You're right. It is a different show.
Unlike other giant ground sloth species, these guys walked on flat sole feet on their hind legs. So that's kind of rare. A lot of them would almost they still had the foot formation of their tree-dwelling cousins.
But they walk on their
on their sides of their feet.
Gotcha.
These guys would actually walk on their flat feet.
Yeah, like heel and all.
Yeah. And there's only a couple species of giant ground sloth that did this. So these giant grounds, the speciation happened very, very quickly. So what that means is they took over a lot of niches very quickly. So they were still holding on to a lot of traits from earlier species.
Gotcha.
So when you evolve really quick, you don't have time to get rid of all the little odds and ends that don't really help you out
Anymore, yeah.
And that's probably a good a good point of why a lot of these guys went extinct relatively quickly.
Okay.
Is that other animals came into their niches that were just better.
Gotcha.
They didn't compete. These guys were really good at everything, or they were good at everything, not really experts of nothing.
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Do you know the rest of the quote?
Don't take any wooden nickels.
I can't remember it, but it's the rest of the quote is, "I rather be a master, or I rather know many than be a master of one." It's something like that. The real saying is saying it's better to be a jack of all.
Oh, okay. Really?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would be better to be a master at one.
Not if you're trying to survive.
I guess.
If you're really good at building a house, but you can't catch any food, guess what?
That's where
building a house really sucks.
That's where community comes in.
Yeah. Giant ground sloths had a extremely widest range of all the North American ground sloths. So these Jefferson ground sloths are kind of just popped up everywhere. Like I said, they're mostly a Midwest species, but they've been found all the way from Northwest Canada to Western Mexico.
Okay.
They are the only ground sloth that has been recovered from the Yukon and Western Territories of Canada. So on Cryptids of Corn, we may talk about that as them still being alive up in the Yukon.
That'd be cool. Did you say at the beginning where the Jefferson name came from?
Yeah, Thomas Jefferson.
Thomas.
Oh, no, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. It's from Thomas Jefferson.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the ones that described him early on. Or no, he was named. It was a named after thing.
Gotcha.
I'm not 100% on that, but there's something there with that.
With Thomas Jefferson. Okay.
So the status at the end of the Pleistocene. The Pleistocene megafauna in North America, the Jefferson's ground sloth, went extinct towards the end of the Pleistocene. Despite the large number of specimens that have been recovered from across the continent, only a handful have been directly dated through radiocarbon dating. Furthermore, most of them are directly dated from specimens as from the thermal Pleistocene and provide good temporal estimates for the species extinction window. Currently, the youngest widely accepted radiocarbon dating obtained from the lower jaw of an individual recovered in northern Illinois. That was that one that was really recent.
Yeah.
This date obtains that they probably went extinct between 13,800 and 13,160 BC.
It's pretty. Oh, BC.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess that would make sense. I was thinking years ago, but that's still that's like so. It's like
It's at like 15,000 years ago.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay.
So a single older direct date of about adding another 50 years to that was obtained on petrified bone cartilage from a toe bone that was seen in North America and North Dakota.
Still pretty spread out.
Yeah, so these guys relatively they went extinct way before mammoth and such. It really seems to directly date to when humans got here to North America, at least from some of those earlier estimates.
Yeah.
Or like the mid estimates when like a lot of the North Americans moved in from Asia and such.
Right.
And we've talked about that on Cryptids of Corn that the giant ground sloth, like okay, not Megalania, that's the lizard.
It was right on the tip of my tongue. It's because I have arc in my mind.
Yeah, it's the arc one.
The arc one. Oh,
The really big one. Those are the ones that were probably partially carnivores.
It might pop in my head before we finish this. I'll try.
Megatherium.
Yeah, Megatherium.
Megatherium was the biggest of the giant ground sloths.
Okay.
So they would burn those to like in their caves because they were so scary. Like literally, they were standing like 16 to 17 foot tall at the shoulder.
They are very mean on that game. I don't know if that means anything.
I mean, they were almost 10,000 pounds. They were like, so to keep in mind, these guys are at 2,500 pounds and 10 foot tall at the shoulder. The Megatherium was, 16, 17 foot tall at the shoulder and 10,000 pounds.
That's insane.
And they are famous for what we believe is carcass stealing. That they were not good hunters because they're something the size of a small house.
Yeah, they just come in and scoop it up.
But they were bigger than all the other carnivores.
Yeah.
So when they come in, they just took it.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? Fight it?
So I have the name. I did have the name thing later on. If you would have waited.
Oh, my bad.
Once again, guys, I'm sorry at home. I'm very tired.
I just got excited.
Jefferson's giant ground sloth is named after Thomas Jefferson, who recorded fossil bones from the animals that had been recorded from caves in West Virginia in the late 18th century. Originally, Jefferson thought the remains belonged to a giant cat based on the size of the claws recovered in the cave. And the name was assigned to the animal. Megalonyx means giant claw. He soon realized, however, that animal is much more closely related to the South American tree sloths. Jefferson presented a scientific paper about his research to the American Philosophical Society of 1797, marking the beginning of the vertebrate paleontology in North America. In fact, Megalonyx was the subject of the first 2 scientific articles ever published in the U.S. fossils.
Okay.
So the Jefferson Giant Ground Sloth has a lot of
historical significance.
Yeah. It was kind of the first ever fossil researched here in North America.
Yeah, that was solely, found here and only here. Yeah.
Yes, fully. Like it was one of the first.
That's kind of cool.
And there was most people believe it's because first off, there's a lot of them.
Is that what makes these guys freaky?
Yeah, I mean they're very big. I mean, giant ground sloths as a whole were very freaky animals.
Yeah.
And like I said, they went extinct partially due to the end of the Ice Age. A lot of our megafauna went extinct at the end of the Ice Age.
Right.
We don't, there's many ideas of why megafauna went extinct. We look at mammoths, like mammoths in the Northern Hemisphere, if I remember the number right, measured at like 140,000 years ago. There was like 40 or 50 million of them in the Northern Hemisphere, which for a large animal is a lot.
Yeah.
And then by like 30 or 40,000 years ago, it was under 1 million animals.
Dang. Okay.
And that, that's a long time. That's
Yeah.
100,000 years, but a steady decline.
You're right. Exactly.
And then humans probably finished them off.
Hmm.
At least for the most part. We talked about in Cryptids of Corn, on the Patreon, we talked about the living mammoths.
Right. That they might still be out there.
I do think there could be in Russia and in the Yukon and stuff like that. They're
Shacked up with the giant ground sloths.
Yeah. Well, I do think there could be Ice Age holdovers.
Yeah.
If you think about it, think of all the megafauna from Africa are Ice Age holdovers.
Elephants. Hippos?
Everything
Rhinos.
over 1,200 pounds is from the last Ice Age.
Okay.
They stayed longer.
Gotcha.
And some people point to the evidence that those are the ones, and this is, a lot of conjecture, that those are the ones that evolved with humans directly.
Okay.
Most people point that at least humans probably evolved in Africa, Asia, or somewhere in that little confluence of, And I know
So they say.
I'm just saying that's where most scientists put them at.
Right.
And that those megafauna had experience with humans.
With people. Okay.
And then when the humans moved out everywhere else in the world,
Yeah.
those megafauna did not have
just
experience
stayed.
with humans.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
okay.
They weren't as fearful as probably they should have been.
Yes.
You think that, as a mammoth or a mastodon or a giant ground sloth, something that's 120 pounds isn't that scary to you when you're, 10,000 pounds.
Right.
Until it starts throwing a sharp stick at you and
Right.
burns you alive in your cave.
Or has these elaborate traps. And
Right.
Scoop your legs up or something.
I don't know if I personally buy into that theory. That is a leading theory, though.
What's that?
That humans are responsible for a lot of these megafauna going extinct in the rest of the world.
Gotcha.
We talked about the Mapinguari, too.
Yep.
On, I think it was another Patreon episode. That the Mapinguari is probably a giant ground sloth that's still alive in the rainforest of South America.
Yeah.
It fits very similar descriptions. Giant ground sloths also had a pit on their stomach that released...
The stinky odor.
Yeah, it's scent gland. It's just what it is.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Anybody's ever been around goats? Like they have theirs in the back behind their horns. So it's literally a bare patch of skin that leaks. It looks like it's leaking.
Really?
Yeah.
On goats?
On uncastrated male goats, boars.
Did not know that.
Yeah, that's why they reek.
Did not know. I guess I've never been that close to a stinky goat.
Oh, they stink. Horrid.
Then why do you keep trying to convince me to get a different show?
Oh, milk goat's different than a boar.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
No, an uncastrated male goat.
Well, I've milked one in a different show. There's a different show.
But so there's a lot of the end of the Ice Age is a very interesting mass extinction. And I do believe a big part of it is specialization. The habitats, the ice sheet was retreating.
Yeah.
The snow line was retreating.
Yeah.
So just less land.
It's a different world than we live in today.
In the North America, 13,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago, a new animal did move in, which I do believe a lot of these animals went extinct due to.
Rat.
Ooh, a good guess. Bison.
Oh, bison. Okay.
Bison moved in in massive, herds measuring hundreds of thousands of animals. They could move a lot quicker. And bison are big.
Oh, yeah.
But not compared to mammoths and giant ground sloths and such, So they were the smaller end of megafauna. And they came in and they were eating all of the wintering habitats that these megafauna were using.
Okay.
And they got there first. They were faster.
Where did they come from?
Asia and
Okay.
Russia, Europe. Those populations were much, much older. They came over on the land bridge the second time.
Are they still over there?
Yeah. Well, the Asian or the European forest bison is I think red listed. There's only a couple herds of them.
Okay.
They're very rare now. But that 15,000 year mark is when they came over on the land bridge the second time it was open.
See, I always just had in my head that bison were only in America, but yeah, I don't.
They're actually the newest kids on the block.
Okay.
Everything else, pretty much all the other big animals were already here.
So they could have been roaming the plains of Mongolia.
They were
Okay, the steppe areas. Yeah.
Yeah, that's their habitat. And when they got here, the megafauna wasn't ready for them.
Yeah.
The megafauna over in Europe or in Asia, in Russia, was already kind of dealing with them.
Yep.
That's why the mammoths were already retreating back to colder climates, and their populations dropped off way, way first. They just couldn't handle bison.
Okay. Oh, the megafauna.
Yeah, megafauna couldn't
Gotcha.
handle because there had never been an animal like that in the colder climates of the northern hemisphere. You think of wildebeest and actual buffalo, true
Right.
buffalo.
Not bison.
Yeah, that would have animals, hundreds of thousands of animals in a herd. They got to these areas quick and they just wiped out the food.
Right, yeah.
Mammoths were not fast. So when they got to these
Just
areas
big.
that they were depending on to survive the winter, they went extinct. And
Well
we talked
done.
about it. That mammoths were, I know we're getting off track for giant ground sloths, but mammoths were responsible. They were keystone species. When they got to these wintering habitats, they were the ones that would open up the ground for other animals to eat also.
Right, yep.
So when mammoths went extinct, everybody else went extinct with them.
Like big snow plows.
That's what they were. I mean,
Yeah.
and there was other species, it wasn't just Columbian mammoths that we talk about, or mastodons. But yeah, the giant ground sloth is a very unique. Their whole lineage of sloths are a very unique thing. They were like specialist in nothing. Like they were trying all kinds of niches, and I do think there's some evidence that suggests a couple of them were fully predatory.
So they're like the fully grown life-size water bears.
Maybe,
They just fill every niche, do everything.
but that's they. What was that?
I don't know. I heard that too. It's a strange sound.
Oh, okay.
Sound like something clicking or something?
Yeah. Okay. But that's pretty much been the Jefferson's giant ground sloth,
Yeah,
and that's why the Jefferson's was special.
Yeah.
Sorry for the low energy this week, guys.
Well, it's Friday, you know? It's relaxing
Yeah, it's
energy.
Friday.
It's relaxing energy on Friday. Remember to stick your head out of the car window and feel the breeze. Not if you're driving. If you're only if you're the passenger. If you're driving, only do it for like a split second. Just to get that
Just to get it out
flash of air through your face. Let your hair blow in the wind. Do some windsurfing while you're in the car too, while you're a passenger today, or if you're a passenger today. And if you're inside and you're just not feeling the best, and it's just get outside and enjoy some sunshine.
Just get out there and enjoy it. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's a good one to end on, Jay.
All right.
I've been the great and powerful mystery.
And I've been Jay.
Please remember, guys, leave a 5-star review in a comment below.
Leave a
greatly
freaky
appreciate
fauna comment.
it. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right,
Now,
guys.
listen to this awesome Swede.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Freaky Fauna Friday. If you want to help the podcast grow, remember to share and give it a 5-star review.